Oh, my name is Don Meichenbaum. I'm a clinical psychologist and I am research director of the Melissa Institute for Violence Prevention in Miami, Florida. A major focus of the Institute is how to reduce the likelihood of intimate partner violence. This is a particular challenge in the days of COVID-19. With shelter in place, the incidence of domestic violence has increased substantially. To set the stage, let me present you with a challenge. What do the following celebrities each have in mind? Aretha Franklin, Tina Turner, Madonna, Rihanna, Halle Berry, and others. As you consider the talented and attractive women, unfortunately, one of the things that these women have in common is that they ended up with a male partner who physically and psychologically abused them. So what is exactly that these talented and attractive women missed knowing? Clearly, the best way to reduce intimate partner violence would be to help individuals make smart and safe decisions at the outset. I should note, however, right from the outset that the incidence of intimate partner violence is comparable in gay and lesbian couples as it is in heterosexual couples. And while some 2 million women in the United States are physically assaulted each year, in fact, it's escalated to the point where they now want to call homicide femicide, given the high incidence. The key becomes, what exactly should women be on the lookout for? I should also note that in about many cases, there are men who are victims. About 1 in 7 relationships have women actually assaulting men. Phil Hartman, for example, a comedian on Saturday Night, was actually murdered by his wife. So in general, what should people be on the lookout for? Moreover, I should note that this has been a long-term preoccupation of mine, not only for the Melissa Institute, but as a parent of 4, my children would bring home prospective partners, and I had a mental checklist of the violence potential of prospective partners. Maybe you saw the movie of Meet the Parents with Robert De Niro. This turns out to be Meet the Parents with Don Meichenbaum. So let's get to it right offhand. The first kind of concern is the characteristics of men in particular who are likely to engage in abusive behavior. They tend to do a kind of love bombing, or what is called rapid dating behavior. They tend to be highly solicitous of the women. They may show up with flowers or cakes. And in fact, women and men in general would find such attention attractive. However, they tend to encourage women to make rapid decisions in terms of moving in together or intimacy and the like. These are all kinds of warning signs. These take on particular meaning when we keep in mind that aggressive behavior is in fact highly predictive over the course of one's lifetime. In fact, one's likelihood of having stable aggressive behaviors is comparable to the stability of a person's intelligence quotient. Therefore, one of the major concerns is that violence, developmentally and even in high school dating, is highly predictive of adult behaviors. So at beginning, there's a kind of slippery slope between the kind of social isolation, psychological control, mind games, and the like, and various sense of control that escalate rather quickly into some kind of physical violence. This physical violence may not occur until after intimacy or even after marriage. The notion that women have that marry the man and change their ways tomorrow, or Joe Pietru's clever play of I love you now, I love you, you're perfect now, change, sort of have been a central tenet of this particular perspective. In fact, there are a number of ways that women can assess the violence potential of their prospective partner. One is to actually try and look at the social media page or Google the prospective partner to ascertain whether there's any kind of record of violence, DUIs in terms of driving under the influence. And moreover, if their name does not show up, that doesn't give them a clean slate, because most instances of such violence is not in fact reported. But if social media does have a red flag, that would be an occasion for people to give pause to whether in fact they should engage this person as a long-term prospective partner. Another kind of way that women can check is to invite feedback from significant others as they watch their interactions with the prospective partner. Find a friend, a relative who can provide on some comment and be open to at least their feedback. Another kind of suggestion that has been offered in the literature that becomes really critical, even though psychologists have tried to create checklists of this kind of predictive behavior, is to trust your gut. That is, women should accept the gift of fear and to try to see if there's any particular kind of cautionary notes that they engage in, any kind of hesitancies that give them pause. Is this indeed someone they want to have a long-term relationship with? And if they had children, they would want those children to emulate the behaviors of their spouse. Kubani and others who work with victims of violence have even suggested that women should perform some kind of personal experiment. That is, in fact, engage in some kind of intentional challenge to their prospective partner, disagree on purpose, and get a behavioral sample. Keep in mind that past behavior is the best predictor of future behavior. This leads me to the last set of suggestions. In fact, this summer, I was at my summer abode in Cape Cod and had my teenage granddaughter visiting with us. Over the course of the summer, she would watch each Monday night a program called The Bachelorette. And we would get into an argument because the Bachelorette had to choose from a number of several mates, males, a prospective mate. Each time I watched the program, I would yell at my granddaughter and say, look, she's asking the wrong questions. So what are the questions that a woman should be asking a prospective partner in order to ascertain the past history, the likelihood? So clearly one wants to get any sense of prior relationships that the person had. So the Bachelorette should have said things like, for example, you seem like a very attractive male. I was wondering if you had any prior dating prior to this program. Well, what did you see in her that was particularly attractive? What, if anything, did she see in you that you found attractive? Moreover, here's an odd question for you. I noticed the Bachelorettes could say, I was wondering if you had a tattoo. Turns out asking people about tattoos is really an interesting question to open up the nature of the discussion. Not only does it mean that you have a particular interest, but each tattoo has an accompanying story with it. And the nature of that story may tell you the degree to which the individual has merely put on something decorative, or whether it's a memorial, or whether it's a gang-related activity. That is, you want to probe about the developmental history. Is the prospective mate someone who came from a high-risk environment to begin with? Did they grow up in a home where there was domestic violence or divorce, where they actually could inculcate a kind of exposure? Did they have a collection of adverse childhood experience where they were victimized? Were they victimized in school in terms of being a bully or a bully victim? What's their history of substance abuse? Substance abuse is a high correlate of domestic violence. Does the prospective partner own a gun? Are they in an occupational group that tends to have misogynist beliefs about women? Do they express some kind of interest in your future plans and in your background? What are the various ways that women can make smart and safe choices. Trust your gut. Are you being rushed to make decision making? Is the person love bombing? Can you have significant others in your life, your friends, your family, observe the two of you in interaction and glean their feedback? Can you develop the art of questioning that looks at the potential consistency in violent behavior of attitudes towards women? What is it that you need to be on the lookout for? Think about your emotions like a traffic light, where there's a green light that says, this is the mate for me. I'm willing to consider our compatibility, our affection for each other. Think about the yellow light. Emotions are telling you a story of go slow, be cautious, test it out, perform a personal experiment and see how it goes, probe about the developmental past. And does your emotions translate into a kind of red light that says, you better exit early if there's warning signs? Have you told the prospective partner that there's no way in your life that any kind of abuse will be tolerated? Can you set boundary conditions? Can you make safe and smart choices so that you don't end up with a potential abusive partner? I hope this kind of checklist, in fact, with a colleague named David Wexler, we're now putting together a book that will provide women with this kind of safe and smart decision-making process. I wish you the best in making these significant choices. Thank you for your attention and interest.